Today's topic will be covering ArcGIS Pro, shifting your data to 3D. So ArcGIS Pro provides a professional 2D and 3D mapping, and high quality visual and advanced analytics. The software is integrated with ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise, which allowing users to actually easily create and share web scene and other projects as well. So before we get to the detail of this topic, please allow me to actually introduce our presenter for today's section. Today's presenter is Nabila, and she will be assisted by Azim. They both are consultant in Enterprise Consultant Team of Esri Malaysia. Without any further ado, I shall pass this presentation to Nabila. Over to you, Nabila.
Okay, thank you, Kit, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Nabila, and together with me today is Azim. So he will be covered on the demonstration part. So let's start our webinar today with shifting your data into 3D using ArcGIS Pro. So this topic for me is quite interesting. If you want to start using 3D inside your ArcGIS Pro, so we're going to see what are the capabilities that ArcGIS Pro has offered to you. If you want to do the visualization, manage your data, do the analysis, or even publish your data to others. Okay. All right. Let me move. Okay, so whenever we talk about ArcGIS Pro, most of our users nowadays, you are working with a 2D data. Okay, but actually, ArcGIS Pro has extended its capability to work in a 3D platform. So, of course, the capability same goes to 2D, where you can work with your data. You can edit your data, manage, you can visualize your data, you can create a lot of the analysis, either basic ones or comprehensive analysis for your 3D data, or even you can publish your data and share it not only inside your organization, but towards the public as well. So all of our platform support this 3D capability. So as you can see here, 3D in ArcGIS Pro has support many of our use cases to solve their problem. So we start with the natural system. For example, you want to do the flood analysis. Okay? And for the facility, if you want to see the assets that are located inside your 3D building. So you can do it inside your ArcGIS Pro. And when we talk about the network, okay, you can work with the utility network, okay, telecom, or if you have the underground pipeline, the asset that you cannot see by your eyes, right? So you can visualize it using 3D inside the ArcGIS Pro. And the most common or trend that we have nowadays is the smart city and urban areas, where we can create the smart city, include all of the factors related to it, affected to it, and we can create this smart city using ArcGIS Pro. And on top of that, you can do a lot of the analysis, and the output itself you can share not only for yourself, but inside your organization or even to public use. Okay, so 3D is actually has support, 3D in ArcGIS Pro has support end-to-end process from the reality capture, okay, if you go to the field, okay, up to processing your data, then you can share your 3D data. So nowadays, we are seeing an explosion of new types, method of collection, and sources of the 3D data. So start with the LiDAR. So LiDAR data is one of the very famous ones. If you work with the 3D, so you work with the LiDAR data. So it provides you a very high accuracy of your data, okay? Coming from the drone, coming from the truck, backpack, airplane, and even satellite. Okay? And also you can work with a high resolution global scale mesh created from aerial and satellite imagery. And for the 3D process or 3D visualization, you can work with the oblique photogrammetry. Okay? You can have indoor and subsurface scanning. So we have a lot of the data or the method of collection that we can use inside our ArcGIS Pro. So all of this data play a big role in order for us to work with 3D data inside our ArcGIS Pro. So simply to put here, ArcGIS is a platform where it provides a comprehensive 3D GIS. Okay, why do I say so? It's because it supports a lot of the 3D data formats and data specification, especially inside your ArcGIS Pro. Okay, because ArcGIS Pro is a platform where you can do a lot of the comprehensive analysis. Okay, as it delights our user with the new experience to help them work better, faster, and easier. Because we have the analysis, the 3D analysis and simulation that you can straight away use. We have a lot of the ready-to-use tools inside our ArcGIS Pro to help you to do the analysis and simulation. And of course, when we work with a 3D, we work with the reality capture, real time, and new data source. Okay, so simply to say, 3D in ArcGIS Pro, we have adopted and deliver new technology, which is the 3D GIS, to meet diverse market needs. So this is the enhancement, the latest enhancement that ArcGIS Pro has provided in terms of analysis and also editing. So we will start with the exploratory analysis tool. So this one is the ready-to-use tool. So later on, Azim will show to you during his demo on what is actually exploratory analysis tools. And then the enhancement in terms of the 3D data management. If you have the 3D data, 3D scene, okay, you want to work at a specific building only. So you can now click the specific building that you want to work with inside your local scene. Okay? And also we have the realistic visualization. So when we talk about realistic visualization, we talk about illumination. For example, you have a shadow inside your local scene in your ArcGIS Pro, right? So if you have a shadow, you might wonder where the lights come from. So we use this realistic visualization to put the sunlight, okay, the resource from the light to actually cover or reflect to the shadow that we actually do inside our ArcGIS Pro. And previously we have the static animation for the typology, okay, but then now we have move animation. We have like a 3D animation for you to use to make your data more comprehensive, more interactive, as well as we work with the 3D object picture layer, and also there are a lot of the last classification that you can do inside your ArcGIS Pro. Okay, so for the 3D visualization and exploration, why we need to use 3D to process our data? Okay? It helps us to view and understand our context. Okay? It also helps us to visualize our features that don't exist or that can be seen. For example, the pipeline under the ground. Also, if you want to communicate with the non-technical stakeholder, for example, they have a property, they want to sell the property. Why certain layer provide or give a higher value compared to maybe the lower level? So we have the analysis to help our user. Okay, in ArcGIS Pro, why we say that okay, this certain level provide you a higher value. So we have the analysis to help our stakeholders to make their decision. Okay, and of course, we're gonna have a better visual and analytical experience, more accurate representation of the real world, and you can analyze behavior and aesthetic more compared to the data. So let's get started with the 2D conversion into 3D. So do you know that if you have 2D data inside your ArcGIS Pro, you can convert it into a 3D data. So how does it look like? Okay, how is the process? So we have a few of the configurations that you need to know lah. Okay, the first one is the features elevation. So features elevation, if let's say you have a 2D data, right? So your 2D data is like the imagery, very flat surface. As you can see inside this slide, this is 2D map, very flat. So if you want to convert your 2D map into a 3D scene, as you know, 3D scene is like a real world where it has the elevation. So when you want to put the 2D on top of the elevation, you need to configure the features elevation first. Either it will be on the ground, relative to the ground, or at an absolute height. And the next configuration that you need to know is the extrusion method. So this is a very exciting method for you in order to stretch your 2D to create your 3D object in a scene. So we have a few of the functionality or option for you to use. It's either you want to use the minimum height, maximum height, base height, and absolute height. For example, later on, Azim will show inside his demo on how you want to use this extrusion method to extrude your 2D data, focusing on the building. Okay, and then after he used this extrusion method, then how it's gonna be inside your 3D scene. So without any further ado, I think we're gonna jump into the demonstration straight away. So I will pass to Azim. Over to you, Azim.
All right, thank you, Nabila. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Today I will be showing you a demo on how easy it is to convert 2D to 3D. So what are the base? The things that I will covering up is the basic information that you needed for you to generate 3D, and a little bit on how you can visualize those 3D into more realistic way to view it. And lastly, I'm going to play around with the symbology in ArcGIS Pro, specifically in 3D. So just keep in mind that this demo is not a learning demo. This is not a teaching session, because I figured it would defeat the purpose that I'm going to go with today. So basically today is a session that I'm going to show to you what are the many things that you can do when you're shifting your data to 3D. All right. So without further ado, let's get to the demo. So I'm going to start off with creating new project in ArcGIS Pro and import the 2D data. So let's say you already have 2D data in ArcMap, right? So you want to use it in ArcGIS Pro. So you can do that. So this is basically what it looks like in ArcGIS Pro, inside local scene in ArcGIS Pro. All right. So what are the basic information needed for you to generate 3D? So if you look at the attribute table here, you will at least need 3D base elevation, building height, and floor numbers. Basically the X, Y, and Z. So this is one of the important steps that Nabila had mentioned earlier. So what I'm trying to do here is I want to set the parameters of elevation. So you technically have three options of elevation type. So which is the first one is the on the ground, second one is the relative to the ground, and lastly is at an absolute height. So what does it mean? The features are on the ground. It means that the features belongs to the ground. For example, a tree. So whenever you have a data point like 3 point, right, the best practice is to select the ground for the elevation type. So the second one, the relative to the ground. So what does it mean? The features are placed at the known height above the ground. So such as security camera position on the side of the building. So and lastly, the features are on absolute height, which means the features know their exact location. And in this demo today, I will use absolute height because it is the best practice to use whenever you want to create 3D for a building, right? And I will set the feature elevation as a base elevation. All right, and click OK. Okay, now you can see there is a slight changes on the data. The area becoming more fitting to the edges. All right. So now we're going to extrude the data. So on the appearances tab, under extrusion, you will need to select base height for the type, and for the fill part, select building height option. Now the data has been extruded. Okay, you can see. So now let's take a look on how you can visualize this kind of data into more realistic manner. So next, I'm going to do the editing. I'm going to add roof, a 3D roof. Okay. So all right, click OK. So in Malaysia, right, we have different kinds of designs of buildings and houses. So eventually, we're going to need to be able to visualize those realistically as much as we can. But sometimes we have some kind of challenge, like on how can we know that this building has a roof, right? So we don't want to make a roof on top of the building that doesn't have a roof. So because it would defeat the purpose of generating 3D data. So this is the LiDAR data. So with the help of the LiDAR data, we are able to approximately know what kind of design this building or houses look like. So when I insert the LiDAR data on top of the building, you can see there's a red thing on the top of the block, so which indicate that that this block has a roof. So and also you can play around with the symbology here to make the house or the visualization look close enough to what it is in real life, such adding a roof. Okay, so next, what if somebody asks me, how can I add other things such as lampposts in my scene, right? So in 3D, in ArcGIS Pro, of course you can do it, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to generate that. Okay. So of course, first off, you need to set the parameters at the layer properties, and you need to check the box here to display 3D symbols in real world units. So this box is I could say it's important parts lah before you do your generating your 3D, because it kind of make the scale of the feature that you want to generate match with the real size of the real world size. So otherwise the scale going to be distorted, probably going to be big, or it's not going to match lah with the environment. So next, you want to go to the symbology here and pick unique values as your primary symbology. And if you hit the button at all values, it's going to classify the classes, and you can see the points are changing its color. And if you want to uncheck the show all other values option menu, and if you notice, right, the color of the point have changed. So the blue one indicates the lamppost and the green one indicates park bench. So on the symbology side, we can change the points and turn it into a 3D lamppost. You can see, and hence make the visualization look more alive. So it is easy as that. So how about we add trees, right? We can have the option of generating realistic trees by simply adding the data. You can generate almost real life tree in your scene. You can set the parameters and you can choose what type of trees that you want to generate. And we have the list of trees that you can choose. All right. So you can choose the trees here. Okay, next, what if you wanted to show an animation? Let's say you have a hazard data location. Can we make 3D out of it? Yes, of course we can. So the process is the same as the one that I showed to you earlier. You add the data, you check the box, so the scale is matched with the real world size, and you go to the symbology and type in animated. Yeah, you type in animated here. So let's say these points are dangerous points. Maybe these are the pothole area, or maybe this is a high voltage area. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is you can animate this point. So I choose caution sign for this example to show how interactive it is. And if you want to change it into other things like let's say oil palm here, so you can do that here too. All right. Okay. So how about for the people who don't have the data, at all? Are they able to use this capability 3Ds as well? Yes. To answer that, the quick answer to that is yes, you can do. But because the only information that you need in order to create 3D is basically the coordinates, the X, Y, and Z for the value of height. So if you have this kind of information, right, you can create your own 3D data. So for the next few moments just now, I'm going to show you guys on how you can create your own 3D data. Okay. So first, you need to create new feature class first. You need to create new feature class, and then you can put the name or whatever the name or related to the things that you want to create. Or in this case, I'll put a building as a name and then alias as a building. and I'm going to select a multi-patch for the feature class type, and I'm going to change the color. All right. Okay, I'm going to change the color a bit so you can see it much clearer. And then you want to go to edit tab and click create. So you can start creating your polygon of your new building. So create the polygon out and you double click it when you're done. So it will form a polygon. So in the middle of the polygon, right, you will see a bullet point on the center of it. You can actually pull it up and down to make it 3D view. And you want to create a line on top of it, on top of the block. So you can pull it up and down, fit to your design, whatever design that you want to make. So, and in this case, I'm trying to make a house, a building house. So it is easy as that. So that's how you create your own 3D data. So it is easy as that, all right? So that's about it for the first demo. I'm going to pass to my colleague, Nabila. Over to you, Nabila.
Okay, thank you, Azim. I think the demonstration has opened all of your eyes to see what are the capabilities of the 3D data in terms of conversion from your 2D into 3D data. Okay, so just now Azim has shown to you how you want to visualize your data, how you want to create your data, how you want to edit your data. So after that, the next step is create analysis, right? Okay, so you don't want to only visualize your data if you have the data. So you need to have the output of your data. So by creating the analysis. So inside our ArcGIS Pro, analysis help you to analyze impact in space. Okay, if you want to see the visibility, right? So it also related to the deep learning for the classification. So this is the like a new method for the deep learning, where if you have 1,000 of data, large data set, so it might need a time consume for you to process or to classify your data. So for the 3D analysis capability inside the ArcGIS Pro, it works with the object detection for the deep learning, and also you can do the 3D tracking and then impact on the surrounding. Okay, you can see what are the things that are related to your focus point. Okay, and also you can do the 3D analytic result, which help to have a better understanding. For example, flood analysis. So you might know where is the prone area for the flood to be happen. What can you do? Where are the fire stations that are nearest to the prone location, for example, right? So we can do all of this analysis inside our ArcGIS Pro. So as I mentioned before, inside our 3D, inside our ArcGIS Pro, this is all the ready to use tools. So if you have your 3D data, if you work with your 3D data, you can straight away click of any of the tools that I have shown to you here for you to straight away use and get the analysis. So we have a line of sight. This one, Azim will show during his demo after this. We have a view shade, we have a view dome. So all of this view shade, view dome, and line of sight, it is the capability of you to visualize or visible the eyesight of your 3D data. And also you can measure. It's like, for example, just now, Azim has showed you how you want to create the 3D building. So you can actually measure how high is the building, for example, right? And also the object detection, the one that I have mentioned about the deep learning, right? So we have this object detection. This is quite new one. Azim also will show during his demo. And we have slides. For example, you want to see the building, the assets that are inside the building, or you have the history 3D data. So you want to see before and after what is happening actually at that place. So you can have these slides ready to use too, and also the animated symbol that Azim has shown to you earlier. So without any further ado, I shall pass back to Azim to show the demonstration of analysis. inside ArcGIS Pro. So over to you, Aziz.
All right, thank you, Nabila. Okay, here I am again with the demo. All right, so I'm just going to jump straight away to the demo. Okay, so what I have is a local scene. So why I use a local scene is because, like Nabila mentioned, we have a global and local scene. So why I use a local scene is because to view the data in a smaller extent. So usually local scene is used to visualize data such as cities or a construction site. So in this case, I have bookmarked the building that I'm going to do the analysis on, and on analysis tab, I'm going to choose exploratory and 3D analysis tab to do the object detection that Nabila mentioned earlier. So in this case, the object detection, the object will be the window detection. So object detection, right? It uses deep learning model. If you can see on the right here, it uses a deep learning model to do the analysis, and you need to input all the parameters needed to run for this analysis. And all right, there you go. So the one that is highlighted in yellow, right, is the one that's being detected using detection analysis. Okay. So the main purpose of this analysis is to identify and locate one or more effective targets from still image or video data. Let's say if you can see there's a window that is not being detected, right? So basically the purpose of this analysis is to reduce the time that you need to actually detect each of the windows. Like reducing your time to actually calculate one by one. You don't need to calculate one by one of the window. You just need run the analysis, and the rest of it, the probably one or two windows that is not being detected, you can do it manually. All right. So if you click on the windows, the highlighted windows, you can see the information such as the width, the height of the window. All right. So next, we're going to do the analysis on the side of the building. Okay, same step as the one that I showed to you earlier. You just click on the apply button here, and it will automatically process the analysis. All right. So how about the area that is hard to see, the one that have limitation to view? How to detect the window, right? So you can go to the view tab here and select the area that you want to do the analysis on, and it will kind of start setting the area that you will have a clear view on the window. So using the same analysis, same step, you run the analysis, and the windows will be highlighted. It is easy as that. So next, I'm going to create a line of sight. The step is pretty much similar as the one that I just did before. So on the symbology menu, you change it into a point location to make line of sight from a particular area. And same process as before, except the windows now is being marked as an X lah. So as usual, to run the analysis, you go to analysis tab and choose straight line of sight to perform this analysis. So you're going to insert all the parameters needed for this analysis on the right section here. And for the sampling method, you choose 3D distance as the parameters. And now you have all the line of sight of the windows originating from one point. And if you notice, right, some of the lines are being blocked by the building. So what needs to be done is we need to run another analysis, which is line of sight, to determine which line is visible directly without being blocked. So put all the parameters, put all the input and output that you need inside the parameters, the tab here. So so it's going to show you the red line and the green line. So the red line indicates that the line have obstacle or the view is being blocked, and the green line shows a clear path or clear view towards the window. So the purpose of this analysis, right, is to determine whether a given point is visible to one another. This kind of analysis is usually used by the real estate, whereby they can determine the value of the unit. Let's say a high-rise building, right? The higher the unit is located, usually the higher the price is. So this kind of analysis help the developer determine which unit area, which unit of the properties can be put as a high value. All right. So I think that's about it. I'm going to pass again to my colleague here, Nabila. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Azim. I think the demonstration show a line of sight and also the object detections that give you some idea on what you're going to do on top of the analysis that we have inside our ArcGIS Pro for the 3D data. Okay, so next we're going to move on the sharing your data, getting your 3D data in web. So previously, if you're working on the 3D data or even 2D data, right? So you're gonna share or you're gonna locate inside your local machine. If you work with a PC, with a laptop, so you're gonna store all the data inside your local machine. So anybody cannot have the access, do not have the access to work with the data that you are working. But now, by using our platform, you can get your 3D data into the web. So the way is more or less the same compared to the 2D data, where we have the sharing capabilities inside our ArcGIS Pro. Before that, I'm going to show to you about the scene inside the ArcGIS Pro. So as you can see here, okay, so when you are working with the 2D data, you need to choose this new map. But then if you are working with the 3D data, so you are dealing with a new global scene and also the new local scene. So what's the difference between global scene and also the local scene? So you can see already, right, inside this picture, what are the difference. Okay. For the global scene, it displays the data in the globe view. Okay. But for the local scene, if you want to have a more detailed structure, okay, so you can do it in the local scene. You have the specific area that you want to focus on inside the map, okay, inside the world, for example. So you need to use this local scene, okay, and it's scale for the global scene. It's scale with the geographic coordinate system. But for the local scene, also it's scale with the projected coordinate system. Okay. And then in the global scene, you cannot change the clipping extent. If let's say you want to work with a specific area, you cannot clip, you cannot cut the surrounding of it. But then in the local scene, you can do it. And then for the global scene, you cannot actually perform below surface analysis, but then for the local scene, you can perform below surface analysis. And then we're going to move to the share scene to the web. So inside our ArcGIS Pro, we have the share tab where we have the option for us to share the web scene. So it depends on your name user if you are redirected to your ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. So when you publish your scene into the web, so there is where your scene will be located. So this is the output where when you share your data. Okay, for example, here I'm using the ArcGIS Online. So you might see this is quite same one. So this data is actually a local data. Okay, this is located in Putrajaya. So if you have the web scene if you have the web scene data, right? So what you can actually do, you can create the application from the web scene, where if your user do not have ArcGIS Pro, for example, so how they want to see, how they want to view your data, how they want to navigate your data. So you need to create an application on top of the 3D web scene, okay, in order for your user to easily navigate. So we have the example of the story map here, show the flood analysis. We also have the ArcGIS Experience Builder for you to see where are the location of the cafe or office that are located inside the building. Okay? And also we have the ArcGIS Instant apps that are focusing on the 3D, where here we use the OpenStreetMap. Okay, so this OpenStreetMap is a 3D based map where you it already provides the 3D data or 3D building. For Malaysia also it has covered. So if you do not have any of the 3D data inside your organizations, then you can use the OpenStreetMap. Okay, so this is probably the last demonstration that I'm going to share to you. So I shall pass to you, Azim.
Thank you, Nabila. So this will be our last demonstration for today. So we're running out of time. So I'm just going to jump right away to the demo. So what I'm trying to show you today is how easy it is to publish or share a web map. So if you can see up here, we have share tab, and we want to share the web as a web scene. And first thing you need to analyze. You need to click the button analyze first, so you can detect if there is an error warning within your data. So if there is no error being found, so you can straight away share your data. So it's easy as that. So if you want to look at your data in your web browser, right? So you sign in with your ArcGIS Online, and you go to your content, and then you just click whatever the things that you have been saved before. So you can open in SceneView. So there you go. It is in like 10 seconds you can generate from what can I say, from you can publish it from ArcGIS Pro to web browser. It's as simple as that. That takes you like 10 seconds only. All right, I think that's about it. So I will pass it again to my colleague here.
Okay, thank you, Azim. I think after we share on this demonstration of the sharing scene to the web, most of our users know already how you want to share. It works the same with the 2D data. Okay. Okay, so this is one of the example of our local user using the 3D already. So this is the example of the Majlis Bandaraya Iskandar Putri that you can actually have the access publicly. So they allow public to access their 3D data around their Iskandar Putri city. Okay, so they have this is a very basic 3D building that we can actually create. So if you still have the 2D data, okay, with you, you have 2D data, then you can actually start to create something like this. Okay, so you can go to the MBIP portal. You can see the example that they already did. They already developed for their Iskandar Putri city. And then the next one is the Pegis. If you know, Pegis is located in the Penang area, Pulau Pinang. So they also have quite interesting or interactive view of 3D. So the tallest building in Penang is the Kompa. So they also have the visualization of the Kompa and also the building here. So maybe for the next step, they can start to work with the roof, what that Azim has shown to you earlier. Okay, they can improve more from this sharing session from this webinar. So here I put some of the resources that you can actually access. You can try on the tutorial. We have tutorial for you to use, and I think that's about it. Kit, I shall pass to you back. Thank you.
Okay, thanks Nabila and Azim. That was an interesting presentation on the 3D in ArcGIS Pro. There's so much update about 3D visualization analysis in ArcGIS Pro throughout this section. So we have a couple of questions that come through. So and then if you have been next slide please. If you have been listening intently to Nabila and you haven't had a chance to actually type up your question, there's still time that you can actually do that in the question pad. Okay, so just to kick off, we have one from who asked Nabila is about if I want to import data, example like point data from flat 2D map that have 0 Z value on each vertex to local or global scene, does it will populate the Z value according to the elevation surface? Over to you, Nabila.
Okay, thank you, Kit. So this person asking if she has the data from 2D. Okay, so for 2D, it has X and Y point only. So if she import the 2D data into a 3D local scene or global scene, so does it will populate the Z value, the high value, according to the elevation surface? So the answer is no. Okay, it will not automatically populate the Z value. Okay, the high value doesn't matter for the building or the tree. Okay, any of point that you have, it won't populate automatically. So we have the parameter that you can set inside our ArcGIS Pro. Okay, if you already have the data for the height, you can just put the fill and link it to the extrude method that I showed to you earlier. So if you do not have that, you need to create by your own. You need to create manually. But as I mentioned before, we have what we call as the open street map. So if you have ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise, you can go to the ArcGIS Living Atlas. So it provides you a free 3D open street map, OSM. So it provides you the 3D visualization of the 3D building. Okay, and it already cover Malaysia. So it depends if you want to, if you can just go there and see how OpenStreetMap works for the 3D. So I think that answers your question. Okay, over to you, Becky.
Okay, thank you, Nabila. The next question is about, is the 3D Analyst extension required to work with 3D map in ArcGIS Pro? Over to you, Nabila.
Okay, so for this time, you are asking about the 3D Analyst extension. So because this presentation is all about the basic, what you can do without have any extension. Okay, so if you are asking either 3D Analyst extension required to work with the 3D map, so the thing that I showed to you earlier, all of these things does not require the 3D Analyst extension. So you can navigate, you can author, edit, and share your 3D maps. Okay, you can call scene in ArcGIS Pro without 3D Analyst extension. Okay, but you can have this 3D Analyst extension if you want to perform 3D analysis and run geoprocessing tools in the 3D Analyst toolbox. Okay, I think I have probably I have answered your question. So over to you, Kit.
Thank you, Nabila. And the last question is quite interesting, where the attendee is actually asking, if I have data from AutoCAD, can I use it in ArcGIS Pro? Over to you, Nabila.
Okay. I think most of our users here, they are still working or building the model inside your AutoCAD, right? So can you actually use it inside your ArcGIS Pro to do the analysis, for example? So the answer is yes. Okay? If you have the data from the AutoCAD, you can use it in ArcGIS Pro. And what about the other data that you don't have? So what about the another 3D data that you have? So how can you know that the data can be supported inside the ArcGIS Pro or not? So let me share with you. This is the supported data types and items that we can have or we support inside your ArcGIS Pro. So CAD drawing is one of the data type that we support, and we have a lot more. So it depends of your data. You can just check here. Maybe after this session, our respective person will share together with this link towards our user to see either their data that they are working right now compatible or not. If compatible or not using the ArcGIS Pro. Over to you, back, Kate.
Thanks, Nabila and Azim, and also thanks everyone for joining us. And we will see you for the next Direction Live on my webinar series. Thank you. Thanks all.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.